One mic.
All I need is one mic.
It's just different.
One mic with Big Mike.
The overall tenor of what he's saying is very stupid.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
Maybe it's not racism. Maybe it's placism.
Brother has to know his place, right, Bob?
One mic with Big Mike.
Things aren't always what they seem.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limit.
Don't just tell me that the reason something's being done is because that's the way it's always been done. Because the first thing I'm going to say to you is slavery.
And now, your host.
I got the big homie here who needs no introduction.
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
Yep. Friday, right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Hope you guys had a good week. Hope you guys have a good weekend. But we're going to try to get into the weekend nicely today on the One Mic with Big Mike show. I am Big Mike. You're hearing me either via Spreaker, the Spreaker app. Tune in if you got that app on your phone or your tablet or whatnot. And also, you can hear me on my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. I'm also streaming live video where you can see me on Facebook. My Facebook page is at the number one MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. You can also hear the show on demand if you missed any portions of it. You can go back and check it out on all the outlets I've already mentioned, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play, Music, YouTube. Make sure you guys are following me on Twitter and Instagram at One Mic with Big Mike. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I'm streaming live video right now on my Facebook page. It's the same handle, at One Mic with Big Mike. You can also get in contact with the show at 404-902-8104. You can jump inside my live interactive chat room via Spreaker, the Spreaker app, or my website by clicking on the little thought bubble icon that you see on the streaming player. Or you can leave your comments below the streaming video on Facebook. Something just went on ESPN, and I was about to try to turn it up real quick to hear it, but apparently this kid, Joe Mixon, the kid from Oklahoma, he spoke today, or I don't know if he just did that or it was earlier today because no sports news was on all day today. But, that kid's going to get raked over the coals for the entirety of, as long as these damn folks in the media want to do it, man. This thing happened 2 years ago. And they keep on acting as though it's not even like they mention it. They keep acting like it just happened yesterday again. So, we'll see. I'm going to ask my guest at 8 o'clock, Rand Carthon. He's the director of player personnel for the LA Rams. I'm going to get him on. We're going to talk about Joe Mixon. We're going to talk about these kids not playing in bowl games. We're going to talk about what actually goes into evaluating a player. I know all of us think we know, and we always talk about people and teams not developing talent like we know what that is. But we'll get the inside scoop on that from somebody who actually does it for a living, who's actually been hired to do it. So we'll talk to Rand at the top of next hour, 8 o'clock. At the bottom of this hour, we'll talk to my man, Jovan Buha, ESPN's ESPN.com's NBA editor. We're going to chop it up about all things NBA and basketball as much as we can get into in one segment. And also don't forget about my daily special. I call it special because I like it. On this day, we'll move that to the bottom of the next hour since I'm, double fisting these. No, I'm not. I was about to say I'm double fisting these guests. I'm not doing that. I'm just doubling up on guests today. So we'll move the feature to the bottom of the next hour. As far as today's show goes, my plan ain't to keep everybody all night because I usually go, for those of you who listen, from 7 to 9 every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on Spreaker. That's Spreaker and the Spreaker app. You guys make sure you're signing up for your free Spreaker accounts as well. That way, every time my show goes live, guess what? You guys get an alert. It tells you what time it is, and you guys can jump on in here and holler at me. In here being my live interactive chat room. Shout out to my man Deshaun Tate real quick too, man. Deshaun is helping me out. Feel me? He's helping me out with the show tonight. Renee is off taking care of some family stuff. She got a party going on at the house. She ain't even invite your boy. She ain't even tell me about it. Her and all the rest of the Coopers over there, plotting to take over the damn world or whatnot. And I wasn't invited. So she got her party going on right now. Her Christmas party. She's one of those holiday weirdos. Probably a bunch of you guys are too. So I ain't gonna come down too hard on you. But yeah, she's a big time weirdo. All right, so today's show. If I can open the damn thing up. Okay, today's show, we're going to talk a little bit about the NCAA. A player, one of the player of the year candidates, got suspended yesterday by his emperor of a coach. You know, don't ask me nothing because I'm going to tell you everything you need to hear. Him and Saban and all these wackos. Yeah, I'm good. We got bowl games going on. For those of you who care about the Army something Air Force Bowl, the Popeyes Bowl was earlier today. I don't really have too much to say about any of this stuff until the big boys start playing. When Florida State and Michigan and them cats start playing, holler at your man. You know what I mean? Got to talk about the NFL. Had Thursday night football yesterday. The Giants had a chance to possibly clinch a playoff spot, but the Eagles foiled it. They played the Grinch. See how many whack Christmas comparisons I can get out in 20 seconds or not. So before we get out of here, we're going to go over these playoff scenarios for some of you guys and girls who got teams that are maybe on the brink of making the playoffs and whatnot. I'll go over the playoff scenarios with you guys as well. And a rumor hit today about the NFL backing this developmental league. I say rumor because it turned out to be just that, or maybe just fake news, since that's a new thing. That's a thing that's going on. We're going to start off, though, in the NBA. Your headlines for today, I already mentioned Grayson Allen got suspended. You know why? Because Shawty be tripping, man. Shawty be tripping. He damn sure do. That dude got this thing that he does, like, that when he thinks he's been fouled or been wronged or something of that nature, my man will just stick out his foot and like trip you on the court. Like that's the thing to do, I guess. So he's been suspended. His coach, Emperor Krzyzewski, says it's indefinite because they got to figure out what's wrong with the kid and all this kind of stuff. We'll see. I mean, he's a good ball player. Like, he's one of the kids in college basketball that I actually know who he is, and I know he's a pretty good ball player, but yeah, that can't be a thing. They was playing my man Alec Campbell's alma mater too. Where's Alec at? 99.3 ESPN radio in Greenville, North Carolina, I think. So yeah, my man is they were playing Elon. All right, what else I got on this thing? I'm trying to do so much. I'm trying to like do the stuff that Renee would usually do as well as talk. If you hear me pausing and being an idiot, I'm not having a mini stroke. It's just what's happening. We got Saturday football this week. Saturday football. So you people who are like me and in your fantasy football championship games, remember, you can't wait till Sunday to set your lineups. You're gonna be screwed. Set them joints tonight, man, and have it all said and done with. Because basically, if you're in the championship, you got the roster you're gonna go with. Let me unless you mean you got like Melvin Gordon's been hurt and whatnot. That sucks. And then on Sunday, got a finals, what they call it, a finals rematch. They call it a finals rematch, but it's really not, because guess what? If the Warriors win, they don't get to take the trophy back or the rings. It's just a regular season game, but it's going to be a good regular season game. So that's what I'm excited for. Christmas Day basketball, Warriors and Cavs, and the undercard. You got the Knicks and the Knicks and the Celtics, which this year that's not a bad undercard, but the main draw, you know what I'm saying, is that situation that's happening later on, that Cavs Warriors situation. That's what I'm all about. And I'm gonna talk to my man Jovan about that at 7:30, coming up here in about 20 minutes or so. But first, let's start here, man. Let's start with what happened yesterday. Apparently, George Karl, former Seattle Seahawks coach, Denver Nuggets coach, Sacramento Kings coach, he's putting out a tell-all memoir, like one of them joints that Phil Jackson put out a little while ago. He's putting out one of them. And in the memoir, it's called Furious George, My 40 Years Surviving NBA Divas, Clueless GMs, and Poor Shot Selection. He has a few choice words to say about some of his former players. Let me fill you guys in on some of the stuff my man George, Curious George, had to say about these dudes. And like, here's the thing too, like in reading it and seeing it, I'm not even terribly necessarily mad at the situation. I mean, not that I would be. He wasn't talking about me, but like, it's one of those things that at this point in time and everything's so hypersensitive, anytime a white man an older white man especially says anything critical of a black man, especially a young black successful man, it's deemed to have some sort of racist undertones. I mean, race may be involved, but I don't know that necessarily makes a person racist. Now, I don't know that George Karl isn't racist. I just don't think that what I'm about to read to you makes him racist, if that makes sense. It's racial, but not racist. And I'll explain more of that later. He goes in the book, this excerpt from the book, and I'm just giving you guys some highlights. I'm not going to be, it's not read along with Big Mike. The Nuggets team that I would try to lead is what he says, and coach had 3 AAU babies. The starting forwards, Kenyon Martin and Carmelo Anthony, and our boy, J.R. Smith. AAU babies, if you're wondering what those are similar to spoiled brats you see in junior golf and junior tennis, but with a few important differences. The USGA and the USTA have some control. That's an important caveat within all this stuff and how I'm going to wrap this whole conversation up. So remember that. What up, Big L? Big L's in the chat room. What up, homie? See, Big L got his alert. So you guys sign up for your free Spreaker accounts and follow One Mic with Big Mike on Spreaker. You get the alert like Big L. You can jump on up in here and holler at your man. He goes on to say golf and tennis are country club sports with country club parents. Basketball is nothing like that. See, the slope is getting like he's sliding down it. I mean, he's going there and trying to, at the same time not to go there. He says our power forward was one of the most insecure, immature players I have ever coached. Kenyon Martin. He grew up poor in South Dallas with a single parent home. Yeah, that's going to hurt a little bit. That's going to sting when you hear that about yourself. That's going to sting a little bit. But I think, sometimes the thing you got to ask yourself, the thing you got to, man up and say, like, is any part of that true? You know what I mean? It may or may not be, but I think you owe it to yourself to, because a lot of times we don't see ourselves the way other people see us. And more times than not, people don't look honestly in the mirror. He goes on to talk about Carmelo. Carmelo grew up in West Baltimore, a single-parent home. His father died when he was 2. Hard work, skill, talent, and lucky DNA got Carmelo into a private high school and onto the AAU team. Okay, I don't know. You guys tell me if what you're hearing sounds horrible. I don't really think it does. And if you want to chime in, 404-902-8104 is where you want to text those thoughts. Or like I said, jump inside this live interactive chat room. Go to Spreaker, go to the Spreaker app, or just head on over to my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. Hit on that little thought bubble icon. It'll get you inside the chat room. You guys can comment on what I'm talking about. You can also leave comments below the streaming video here on Facebook. It's www.facebook.com/1MICWITHBIGMIKE. All right. Uh-oh. Lost my page here. Sorry, guys. All right. He goes on to say about Carmelo. His low demand for himself on defense. He had no commitment to the hard, dirty work of stopping the other guy. Again, these are things that many people have said about Carmelo. Like, I've always been a big proponent of Carmelo. Like, I'm not a person that feels like if you're a star, you got to be everything. Because, like, what we try to do is measure everything to the very, very best there's ever done to ever do it in Michael Jordan. Like, Michael Jordan was a dog on the defensive end. He was a dog on the offensive end. He just played hard, and he was the most competitive human being on planet Earth. It's hard to compare everybody to that standard. Guys like Carmelo, guys like James Harden. Look, when I'm watching basketball and those two on the court and they're at their best, I'm entertained. I don't need Carmelo to be out there blocking shots and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's like Tracy McGrady. I always felt like Tracy McGrady left stuff on the table. I thought he should have been the better version of Scottie Pippen with a better shot, better handle. But he wasn't as committed as Scottie was on defense. And, to Scottie's credit, he had Michael Jordan there to push him in that aspect. But I'm good. Like, I enjoyed watching T-Mac bust people ass for 50. You know what I mean? It's different than, like, if it was like if Draymond didn't bring it on defense, like, Draymond would be like a nobody. But because of what Draymond brings you on defense, he can be what he is on offense. You know what I mean? He's not some explosive scorer you're going to turn on TV tomorrow and find out Draymond had 45 points. He's not that guy. But because of the other elements of his game, you deal with everything. With James Harden, as long as you're getting buckets, dude, and getting busy on the way you are on that end of the court, yeah, you know, a couple of vines about you letting dudes run by you, you know, shadow defense. I think I'm all right with it. You know what I mean? But again, these criticisms that we're hearing from George Karl, these aren't exclusive to him. He says he didn't think Carmelo cared enough about being a good teammate. Now, think about this as well, that George Karl coached Carmelo 7, 8 years ago. He's a much younger man. And listen to Carmelo talk now. Listen to him talk. He talks like an adult, as opposed to, when he was doing, Stop Snitching. He was in a Stop Snitching video. You know what I mean? He's a mature man, a husband, a father. He's all these things now. And like with any of us, with age, hopefully, brings us a little wisdom. What the hell is going on with me? Did I have a mini stroke? Anyway, he goes on to say, Kenyon and Carmelo carry two big burdens, all that money, and no father to show them how to act like a man. Again, that's harsh. You know what I mean? It's like, but like, I don't really know how you say to yourself that's inappropriate. You know what I mean? He dealt with them on a very intimate and close level, as close as one could possibly consider someone, traveling with somebody, basically being on the road with them every other night or whatever during the NBA season, coaching them at practice. Like he dealt with them enough to pick up on their personality traits. He talked about J.R. Smith. He said his father was actually there. His problem with J.R. was his dad, Earl, had his son shoot the damn ball every time he put him in the game. And I mean, JR's JR, you know what I mean? And that really ain't changed a lot. Only difference is LeBron is like, what LeBron say last year? JR is the only guy on the team that got the ultra green light. That can't be true. It can't be true. Just for the simple fact you play with a guy named LeBron James and a dude named Kyrie Irving. There's no way you are the only one. I doubt that he even has one, but LeBron be gassing dudes, man. LeBron be straight gassing cats. So I mentioned Carmelo. I mentioned listening to how Carmelo talks, hear Carmelo and how he speaks now. Here's Carmelo's retort to the things we just heard that I just read you from George Karl's new book.
It's irrelevant to me, though. It's irrelevant at this point. The good thing is, truth of the matter is, everybody else is kind of speaking up for me, and they, from their own experience. So I really don't have to speak on it. When I write my book later on.
Will you send us advance copies?
What would you title it?
Huh?
What would you title the book?
Stay mellow. Like I said, man, it is what it is. And, I mean, it's tough. If this would have came out years ago, you talk. I haven't been in Denver in 6-7 years. I haven't played with under him in 6, 7 years. And just when you're there, it's just a different story. Than what you hear after the fact. I never knew it was this much. I never knew I was what's the word? Conundrum. That mean, to be honest with you. So I never knew that. That never was kind of brought up. But nothing disappoints me anymore. I'm past being disappointed. I just hope that he find happiness in kind of what he's doing in his book. Hopefully, it'll bring him happiness.
Make you happy when you hear him.
Like, the thing is that, like, I wish he wouldn't have done that whole, conundrum. I don't even know what that is. I mean, come on, B. Like, you understand, first of all, you understand context, I hope. You know what I mean? So, like, let's not play like the dumb Negro world, roll in front of all these white folks. That to me, that stuff ain't really cool. Make the white folks laugh at how stupid I am. You know what a conundrum is, B. Come on, man. Like, let's not play that whole game. And for what it's worth, people think he handled it correctly. I don't know any other way to handle it because all I heard were a person's perception of another human being. And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, in 2016, if you got kids, man, make sure you tell your kids it's okay for someone not to like them or for someone to not see them in the same light as their friends see them in. Like Carmelo's like, you hear people sticking up for me. I believe wholeheartedly in this. Nobody is the same way to everybody. You know what I mean? So when Joe Paterno is letting his boy come on campus and rape little boys, and his fans and his former players is like, he's a great man. When Bill Cosby's drugging broads and raping them, and his former co-workers and all these black folks is like, not Bill Cosby, he's America's dad. He's not everything to everybody. To those women, he's not those things. He ain't funny to them. So if Carmelo isn't this grand, great guy to George Karl, who cares? I'm not going to go down the road and start talking about it being disrespect or racist or any of that stuff. I do think there's one aspect to it. And before I get to that aspect, let me play you guys what Kenyon Martin said, because I want to address this as well, this notion that he's about to come with. Here's Kenyon Martin, one of another one of Coach Karl's former players. I think he was on that show with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. I don't know the name of it. Is it called No Mercy? I can hear the song in my head, the Lil Wayne hook to it. Is it called No Mercy? The show with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Here's Kenyon Martin.
It's very personal because, in my opinion, well, not in my opinion, it's what it is. Like, you taking a shot at my mom.
Right.
Like, you taking a shot at the way she raised me.
Correct.
And other single mothers out there, you taking a shot at them. It's very personal because, in my opinion, well,
Sorry.
not in my opinion, it's what it is. Like, you taking a shot at my mom.
Right.
Like, you taking a shot at the way she raised me.
Correct.
And other single mothers out there, you taking a shot at them. Not only me and Mello,
right,
but other single mothers I turned out well. My mother was my mother and my father. So for you to say that, like, you disrespecting her. So I'm here to stand up.
If you know like I know, like, for example, and first of all, your mother is not your mother and your father. Stop saying that, people. Your mother is your mother. If your father isn't there, then you're just a fatherless child. Your mother can do all she can do to raise you to be a great person. But guess what? She's not. She's not a father. She is a mother. No more than a father who has his children is the father and the mother. It don't work like that just because you want it to. It don't really pan out that way. So there's no need for Kenyon Martin to defend his mom. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like he said, he all right. He's good. Have you ever noticed too how people when you strike a nerve in people, how butthurt they end up? People got to get on TV immediately and defend folks and defend stuff. Nah. When I was in high school, all the cats that I ran with, the clique that I ran with, they all were from single family homes. The mom raised them. Speaking of, shout out to my dad, man. My dad ain't listening, but shout out to my dad. Today is his birthday, man. So shout out to the old fart. That's my dad. So out of all my friends in high school, I was the one who had mom and dad at home, I guess what you call the universal family or whatever it's called, right? And then when I got to college, the clique that I ran with in college, they fit the same mold as I was, mom, dad, siblings, everybody at the home, parents from the same, siblings from the same parents and that whole deal. And the one thing that I noticed, there is a difference. And I talked to my old lady about this, about my brother-in-law, because her mom raised them by herself. I talked to her about him, and there is a level of sensitivity that I found in my experience with men who have been raised by just the women in their families. They take things a little bit more seriously. It's not me calling nobody sweet or soft or any of that stuff. Because the dude I'm talking about, my brother-in-law, this dude is he's the thuggiest dude in all thuggism. You know what I mean? But things affect him harshly, and things, that whole notion. I've always been against this thing too. That notion of telling like a 7-year-old he's the man of the house. You putting that dude in a real precarious situation, because now when you start saying that kind of stuff, you know what little boys have to do? Try to figure it out. figure out what they think a man does. And that leads people down some crazy roads. I was having a conversation with somebody earlier today, man, in a real kind of crazy situation where, there's a potential child involved, and, the dude is coming out of that situation I'm talking about and don't want the responsibility all of a sudden. That whole, here's the other thing too, that whole thing about, I don't know how to be a dad because my dad, look, cuz if you're an adult, if you're a grown man, you know what, start here. You know what not to do. How about that? And then when somebody points stuff out to you that things in your life probably could have been a different way, the funny thing is this. So many of these same men who would want to get offended by this would want to stand on this as an excuse. Well, I ain't had no dad in my house, so this, that, and the other. But then when a white man said, when this old white man says it's different. Here's the thing that I want to say to everyone before I take this break and bring my man Jovan Buha on to talk about the NBA stuff. Because we're going to talk Karl's right. It's the type of thing that you look at yourself. Look at yourself and ask yourself the questions. And then, however things pan out, in your mind, roll with that. But here's the real issue to me, the one that nobody's really talking about. And it's been one of those things that over a couple of years now, it's been kind of building this snowball effect. There is a power shift. There has been a power shift in the NBA. And what you're seeing with guys like Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, George Karl, my man, the owner for the Cavs. You remember that stuff when LeBron left? It's like that. It's like a part of American history. Like in American history, when white men are forced to give up power, they don't take it well. When it was time for slavery to end, all these white folks in the South was butthurt. Thus, Jim Crow. That they found a different way to do it. To make themselves feel superior. That's what's going on now. Phil Jackson coming out with this posse stuff, and Pat Riley and them talking about Dwayne Wade and not being, whatever. He talking about Dwayne Wade and LeBron, not being loyal and all this kind of stuff. And George Karl now with the fatherless child. Like, these people are used to having power. And now that they don't have it anymore, I'm not even going to say they're losing it. I'm just going to say they don't have it no more. This new CBA might turn things on its head a little bit once LeBron and CP3 and Carmelo and them move on. This next crop of cats, Carl Anthony and those dudes, they might be in for a little rude awakening. Anthony Davis and those boys, and I'm going to talk about that here in just a second with Jovan Buha. But, don't just think that this is something about, that this is just a race thing. Race. Part of it is racial. Because you're talking about some real influential, powerful white men who now, let's keep it real. Phil Jackson, the owner of the Cavs, all these dudes, they bow down to Melo and these boys. They got to. They got all the power, man. You know what I mean? We joke about LeBron being the coach of that team and being the de facto GM of that team. I don't think LeBron joking. I think he know exactly what's going to happen. Tristan Thompson, you want $84 million? Give Tristan 84. What JR want? Pay JR. Kyrie about to come up here again, probably, because he already extended. Yeah, let's get Kyrie his loot too. And by the way, I want all of mine as well. Period. We're going to continue this NBA conversation on the other side of a break here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Heard right here on Spreaker.com. I'm also on the Spreaker app. Make sure you download the Spreaker app and the TuneIn app because I'm there as well. And, of course, check out the website. It is onemicwithbigmike.com. I got my man Jovan Buha, the ESPN.com's NBA director. I'll be right back.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms. And your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
We asked kids what it took to be a dad. This is what they had to say.
A father is always present. I mean, what real father figure can you have if they're not there?
In order to be a good dad, you need to love love your son. You need to put gas in your car so you don't break down in the middle of nowhere. And you need to make them breakfast. Yep.
I mean, just to maybe play like a board game with me, or to just stay home and play some video games with me. Just to do like that one little thing is what I really look forward to.
I'm not asking him to be a perfect dad, but he should try.
He's just a constant force in my life.
There's no other type of love like a dad's love because it's not comparable to anything else.
Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
And now, back to One Mic.
What are we waiting for? Let's get to it.
With Big Mike.
Yep, welcome back to a Friday edition of the One Mic with Big Mike show here live on Spreaker.com, also on the Spreaker app. Spreaker is what I'm saying. I'm also live on TuneIn. And of course, One Mic with BigMike.com. To be involved in the show, all you got to do is text me, 404-902-8104, or jump inside the live interactive chat room. If you're listening via Spreaker or the One Mic with BigMike.com website, just click on that little thought bubble icon and you'll be right up in there. You can also comment below the live video stream on Facebook. It is at www.facebook.com/1MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. And I told you, MFers, we about to talk some basketball. Finally this season, we're going to talk some basketball. The real basketball guy. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to welcome in. Hold on. Let me hook up the hookup first because he ain't going to be able to hear me if I don't. Hold on. All right, there he is. Jovan, what's up, brother?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I don't know it. Well. Man, I don't remember your voice being so... Is that ESPN money that got your voice like crazy, like baritone? Is that what that is?
I think so.
Yeah, man. My man got the ESPN gig. And when I hit him, I was like, man, I know ESPN be tripping, man. They don't like their people to be out. Can you find me somebody? He was like, nope, I'll do it. And I definitely appreciate it, my man. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you guys are following Jovan as well. Now, it's JOVANBUHA on all his Twitter outlets. He's a self-proclaimed Serbian gangster. If we got time, we'll get into that as well, what that means. Let's start here. Let's start here in the ATL because that Atlanta Hawks team, I was talking to one of my men the other day, my former co-host, and I was like, I don't really enjoy watching this team play this year. And it started last year. 2 years ago when they made the finals, it wasn't because they were winning. It looked different to me. Now with Dwight Howard here, I tried to ask Steve Holman about it, but he got all butthurt about the question like I was trying to be funny. But I'm being for real. Like, first of all, what's the national narrative surrounding this Atlanta Hawks basketball team? Let me ask you that first.
I think the Hawks have kind of been around expectations. I know with ESPN, I think we had them in our preseason rankings as like the 6th or 7th seed. And I think most places had them kind of in that 6 to 9 range. Mm-hmm. Right now, they're currently the 8th seed at 14 and 15. But I think most people knew it was a gamble. Dwight Howard is a bigger name than Al Horford, but I think most people would agree that Horford at this stage of their careers is the better and more consistent player.
Yeah, not these idiots down here.
Dwight's been solid. What?
Not these idiots down here. They think Dwight is the better player. It's ridiculous. Go ahead, my man.
Well, Dwight's the hometown guy.
Right.
He's putting up 14 and 13. Looking at his stats right now, shooting really well, 63% from the field. But I think when you have Dwight Howard, it just changes the dynamic of your team.
Right.
I think the thing that made that Hawks team so special a couple of years ago is that most of the time you had at least 4 guys, if not 5, who could shoot threes, space the floor, move the ball. No one was selfish. It was a very team-first, almost Spurs-like offense. Obviously, Bud came from San Antonio culture. So I think that team was way more dangerous offensively and defensively. They're solid. This team is a much different team. Obviously, Jeff Teague is gone also. Schroeder has been putting up some big numbers, but I don't think he's necessarily as effective running an offense at this point as Jeff Teague was. So I just think you kind of changed the dynamic of this team. I don't think they're as deep as the Hawks the past couple of years. So I just think they took a slight step back. But looking at the roster, I honestly think they're underachieving a little bit.
Really?
I know Bazemore was out a little bit, but this team has some pieces, and I don't think they're necessarily playing as well as they should be.
Yeah, I always wonder about Dwight Howard. You know, I've always told people that I feel like he has an identity crisis. And you know what I think it is, Jovan? I feel like, and I thought about this the other day, like Dwight was caught between eras. Like he was still a part of that Shaquille O'Neal big man era. And then the next thing you know, he's still in the league, and he was still, you know, a viable player. But then came this era of spacing the floor, the Kevin Durant's, the Dirk Nowitzki's, the guys who were his size or bigger, really, or taller, I should say, but could shoot the basketball. But he still had the mentality of, I need touches, I want touches. Thus the problems in L.A., thus the problems in Houston. I think now with this Hawks team, it feels like there's a concerted effort to get him the basketball. And like you said, it doesn't fit what Bud wants to do as far as spreading the court, the movement, the natural picks, getting shooters open jump shots. Am I on something when I say that?
No, yeah, definitely. I think that kind of, like you just said, conflicted in LA with him. I think it conflicted in Houston with him. I mean, Houston on paper probably should be worse than they were last year, but look at how well the Rockets are playing.
Right.
I mean, they're in a great position right now to kind of secure that 3 seed, with the Clippers struggling with injuries. And I mean, they're firing 43s a game, which is just insane, but that's kind of what happens when you don't have Dwight in there kind of clogging the paint and asking for touches. And not to get too nerdy on you, but I think the last few years it's kind of bared it out where, you know, Dwight in the post is not that effective.
He's not.
He's not. You know, he's traditionally just not been an effective post scorer. If he's going to score, it's just because he's bigger than everyone, and
right.
You know, he's going to bulldoze his way to the rim. But for the most part, he's been very effective as kind of rolling down the paint, catching alley-oops, and that type of stuff, sort of like in the mold of like a DeAndre Jordan.
Right. I love DeAndre.
But Dwight Howard kind of, he looks at himself as, he kind of looks at that as beneath him.
Right.
And I think that's kind of, like you said, been that identity crisis for him, where I think he's not as skilled offensively as he'd like to think. And if he just kind of embraced that role of, I'm going to set screens, kind of crash the offensive
rim run,
get some alley-oops, rim run, when I'm open and kind of just do that, I think he'd be a much more effective player. But if he wants to post up, 10, 15 times a game, I think that kind of stalls your offense, and it's just not effective.
Absolutely. It's like you're reading my note sheet, as a matter of fact. He is the NBA editor at ESPN.com. His name is Jovan Buha. Make sure you guys are following him on all his social media platforms at JOVAN BUHA. Now, let's talk about the CBA that just happened, that just got agreed to, I should say. Jovan, it feels like some smoke and mirror stuff going on with this CBA. And for a couple of guys, I should say. Not for everybody, because like LeBron and those dudes, they're going to get crazy money. Chris Paul's going to get crazy money. Steph's going to get money. But it feels like this is the owners taking back some of that player movement control because of the difference in the money if Jovan stays versus if he leaves. And basically saying you still have the choice, but it's going to be a dumb choice if, like Boogie, if Boogie decides he's going to, wait it out, play the free agency, he and guys like Anthony Davis, they're going to lose so much money. What are your thoughts on what I'm saying about this CBA? Because it seems real sneaky to me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you fully. I'm personally of the mindset that I think players should have the choice to leave.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've done a complete 180 on how I felt, kind of because LeBron has long been one of my favorite players, and after the decision, I kind of had a falling out with him for a little bit just because the way he handled it and kind of leaving Cleveland and all that. But since then, I've completely changed my opinion on it just because I do think now it's kind of ridiculous the way we react to players leaving. It's like in any other industry, if you left Google for Apple or something,
right,
or along those lines. I'm not the first one to make that comparison, but
it's just business.
You would not get criticized that way.
Right.
And I think just in sports, we kind of look at it like you're supposed to be loyal, you're supposed to stick with the team that drafted you. But like bringing up DeMarcus Cousins, like you just said, why should he be loyal to the Sacramento Kings? I mean, he's not been the perfect player, but look at the talent they've surrounded him with. You know, look at the guys they've drafted. Look at how many coaches they've had and GMs and stuff. So it's like, if you're DeMarcus Cousins, why should you care what Sacramento wants when they've done nothing but, put subpar teams around you? And, it's just kind of ridiculous. So
Absolutely.
Same thing with Anthony Davis. Same thing, with a slew of other guys. You could see the same thing with Porzingis, possibly in New York. So I just think it's kind of ridiculous that they're trying to limit player movement. I get it from the owner's perspective. Like, you want to keep your asset, especially if it's, a top 5, top 10 draft pick. But I do think it is a little bit ridiculous. And to be honest, I think there are going to be, some guys, this is going to keep them where they're drafted. But it would not surprise me if a guy like Boogie or even Anthony Davis kind of said, screw it, I'm going to pass up 50, 70, whatever million.
Or force trades. Like, start acting up and start forcing trades. That's the other aspect, right? Guys just start acting a fool and saying, look, get me out of here, cuz.
And the other side of this, too, is endorsements. I think, like, obviously 50, 70 million, that's a lot of money. But, a guy like Anthony Davis or even DeMarcus Cousins, if they, for example, force their way to the Lakers,
you make it up.
I think you have a lot more potential for endorsements and stuff off the court than just living in Sacramento or New Orleans and just making a salary from your team. So I think there are other ways for them to make money. It's not strictly just based on the team they play for. So I think that's also another option.
Talking right now with Jovan Buha of ESPN.com. Talking all things basketball, man. Make sure you guys follow him on social media at JOVANBUHA Trades. Let's talk, since we're talking about Boogie, do you see any trades happening? Guys like Nerlens Noel, Paul George, another team that, I feel like is underachieving in that Indiana squad. You see any trades happening? Any monumental ones happening this year?
It's tough because I think in the social media internet age, GMs, teams, they get ripped for making the wrong trade, and usually anytime you're trading a star, most people, it's just their first reaction is, oh, you didn't get enough, and rarely is it that was a fair trade.
Yeah, you'll never get fair value.
That team ripped them off. So I think that's kind of made GMs and presidents and teams a little more hyper aware to sort of what's the fan reaction going to be, what's the social media reaction going to be to this. So I think that's why you've seen kind of the last few years there haven't really been many big trades. I mean, there've obviously been some trades, but for the most part, I think, unless I'm missing something, like the James Harden trade was probably the last big trade, and that was 2012.
Absolutely.
So there really haven't been any monumental trades the last few years. Obviously, there's been signings and LeBron coming back to Cleveland and Durant going to the Warriors and stuff, but that's all in free agency. So with that said, I think if you're the Kings, you kind of have to trade Boogie. I don't think they necessarily will, but I think the writing's on the wall. I think he hates it there. He wants to leave. He's going to leave. So if you're the Kings, you probably have to move him. The question is for what? I think the Celtics can offer
picks at least
pretty good package.
Yeah.
But from everything that's come out of their side of things, it seems like they're kind of overvaluing their assets, and they want to leave it like, Avery Bradley and a first-round pick and like Amir Johnson. I think that's kind of ridiculous. Like, if you're trading for Boogie, you probably have to give up Jaylen Brown, Avery Bradley, maybe Jay Crowder too, and then a first-round pick or two. I think at the minimum, like you're going to have to bring out a lot for DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah.
I think the Lakers, if they're interested, possible maybe like Clarkson, future first-round pick, and then you probably have to throw in Russell or Ingram. I know that'd be tough for the Lakers, which is maybe why they won't do it. But, I think in the best-case scenario, a guy like Russell or Ingram gets to Boogie's level in the future, and I don't really see either one being better than him. So, in my opinion, that's something to look into. The Suns have assets. The Nuggets have assets. Like you said, the Sixers have assets, but I think unless they're trading Embiid, they're probably not getting Cousins. So it's going to be interesting. Like, I don't, off the top of my head, I don't really think it's going to happen, but, I wouldn't be surprised because the Kings, that would be the smart move. Just the Kings tend not to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And then making me have to watch Kings basketball to see one of the best players in the NBA play is just unfair as well. Let's talk Russ.
Yeah.
Let's talk about my man Russell Westbrook. You know, back in the day when we were doing the show on CBS, my co-host used to always accuse me of wearing the Russell Westbrook T-shirt under my clothes, because I was one who I went pretty hard for Russ, because people would rip him. He's selfish and he's this. He's not a true point guard and all this craziness. But the one thing that I feel about him, like knowing his story back to when he was in high school and his friend died, he comes across so much as that I'll show you kind of guy, which is why I feel like he signed the extension as early as he did with the Thunder. That guy who says, if you think I can't do something, you think I can't play point guard, I'm going to play point guard. And he plays, and it looks like he's wearing it on the court. And my question for you is, like, how long can that hot of a fire burn? Because he goes 100 miles a minute every minute for 82 games. What are we looking at here? Because I'm afraid of injury. Because when guys start playing more emotion and their bodies are telling them to slow down and get a rest and all that stuff, I think guys get more susceptible to injury. What do you think?
I completely agree, and I have to say that Russell Westbrook has proven me wrong. I was a skeptic of the Thunder this season. I kind of thought they'd be battling for an 8 seed. Just looking at that roster, I thought outside of him, Oladipo's a nice piece, but he still kind of has a lot to prove. I think Steven Adams has developed well, but I don't think he's necessarily a second banana. So I was just looking at that roster. I'm like, I don't really see how this is a lock to be a playoff team, a lock to be a 50-win team. But Russ has proven me wrong at every turn, and the dude's averaging a triple-double. And the craziest thing is, which I'm looking it up right now, I don't even think he's playing that ridiculous amount of minutes. Yeah, I'm looking at it. He's averaging only 35 minutes a game. So that that is a lot, but it's not like 38, 39, 40.
Right. But aren't his minutes different than everyone else's though? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. I mean, 35 Russell Westbrook minutes are
like dog minutes, right?
For a normal person, but I would say, look, right now he's averaging 31, 10.5, and basically 10.5. I don't think he averages a triple-double, but I think he gets damn close. Yeah. And it wouldn't surprise me if he was like, 29, 30, maybe, 9.5 rebounds and 10 assists. I think that's very realistic. It's just insane, though. Like, we've never seen someone besides Oscar Robertson, like, average, we're 30 games into the season right now, and the dude's still averaging a triple-double.
Crazy.
I do think it'll have to come down at some point a little bit, but and it has. He was averaging more rebounds and assists earlier in the season, but I think injury is a huge risk. Like he's been injured a couple of times in the past before. If I had to bet, I think he kind of rides it out and is fine for the rest of the season. But I do think at some point his numbers are going to have to come down a little bit, just because it's kind of humanly impossible to do the workload he's doing right now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you're listening to the One Mic with Big Mike show here on Spreaker.com, also the Spreaker app, tune in, and, of course, One Mic with Big Mike. The other voice that you're hearing is my man from ESPN.com, Jovan Buha. Follow him on social media at JOVANBUHA. All right, Christmas Day. This is what I'm talking about, man. We got the Cavs and we got the Warriors. Are there any other like plausible finals matchups at this point? Like we could talk about the Clippers and we could talk about the Spurs and we could talk about maybe Toronto, but like viable. Is there even a thought of these two teams as constructed right now, barring any injury, not repeating this matchup?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my answer. I'll say a couple of things. Like, look, we can't rule out injury. I think if one of the Cavs just lost J.R. Smith, so I think that's going to be interesting because I think the thing that not enough people are talking about the Cavs is this team secretly is not that deep. And they lost Mozgov and Dellavedova, which is like, okay, that's your eighth man and maybe your 10th, 11th man. But that actually mattered, I think, on this team because, looking at their bench, it's really, it's Shumpert, it's Richard Jefferson, it's Channing Frye, and it's not really much besides those guys. So I think losing Dellavedova actually hurts them more than people realize. And I think even losing Mozgov, who, we've seen as he's not worth the money the Lakers gave him, but, as a backup center, he's more than serviceable. So I think losing those two guys actually hurts more than people realize. And I think the Cavs, without J.R. Smith now for 3 to 4 months, which is a very long time,
absolutely,
there's a possibility that the Raptors catch them for the 1 seed. Now, 2 years ago, your Hawks were the number 1 seed.
Yeah, then the playoffs started.
By the Cavs.
Right.
So, and that was a Cavs team without Kevin Love. And, so in the end, I really don't think it matters. The one situation I could see potentially upsetting the Cavs too, besides not having home court, is if like the Celtics or someone kind of in that range traded for Boogie. I think if you have DeMarcus Cousins,
kind of shifts the power
Al
a little
Horford,
bit.
Isaiah Thomas, if the Celtics can swing a trade for DeMarcus Cousins, I think they could potentially beat the Cavs. Just because I think that's the one weak spot with Cleveland is, a dominant big man. I don't think they know how to stop a dominant big man. There's just so few in the league that it's kind of irrelevant. But
Absolutely.
I think that would be my one concern with Cleveland. With Golden State, it's kind of the same thing. If one of their big four gets injured, I think you can make a case the Clippers or the Spurs could possibly beat them. But even with, losing, if they lost Clay, they lost Draymond, I still think they're probably the favorite in the West. I think there's a huge gap right now between the Warriors and everyone else.
Let's talk about them real quick. Let's talk about that Kevin Durant move, because here's my assessment of the move. I know everyone's like the rich get richer and all that, which, yeah, that's true. But I think the Kevin Durant thing was more of a need than a want, and here's why. There are not enough players on that Warriors team that, one, can get to any place on the floor they want to and score, and then two, finishing at the rim. I give you the Andre Iguodala block. Like, KD dunks that basketball. He's not trying to get crafty at the rim. You see Clay do it all the time. You see, of course, Steph trying to get, crafty at the rim with the layups because they don't have that explosive dude at the rim. Enter Kevin Durant. He is that guy. He just killed and took Brook Lopez's soul out of his body the other day. They don't have another guy that can do that, Jovan. And I think, for me, they needed him more so than people just think it was wanting it was greed and all this kind of stuff. They needed that player.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think we sometimes, like you just asked, is there any possible way we don't have a Cavs-Warriors finals? And I just said no, which I think is the simple answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes in the media we kind of tend to overanalyze, overthink certain things. And, the fact of the matter is, like, the Warriors added Kevin Durant, who's, like, arguably the best scorer of his generation. A top 3, top 4 player, whatever you want to, however you want to, kind of delineate it. He's a top 3, top 4 player. Arguably, I mean, just has been so far their best player. And it's like, I think we're overthinking how is he going to fit? There's not enough basketballs, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, ridiculous.
No, you just added, arguably the best scorer in the league, and a dude who people all forget, too. Like, the guy's 6'11", 7 feet.
Exactly.
Like, that's the thing when watching them play the Clippers. It's like all of a sudden you have this 7-footer collapsing on the paint when Blake Griffin's driving or when DeAndre Jordan's rolling to the rim. Chris Paul is trying to shoot his 15-footers around the free throw line. Like, you have a 7-footer with, 7'5", 7'6",
it's crazy,
wingspan coming out of nowhere, blocking shots, tipping the ball. Like, the dude is a center at small forward, which is just insane. And I think people didn't really factor in the defensive end of things. So I think with the Warriors, it's just simply like they have, the 2 best shooters in the league, and Durant's up there as top 10, top 5 shooter as well. And I just think, like, people overthink it. Like, they're amazing.
Right.
They have the best record in the league. I fully expect them to win at least 65, 67 games. Their average margin of victory is 13.6 points, which is better than last season's team. So this is this team is better than last season. Last season they won 73 games and should have won the championship. Like, don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah, as a basketball fan, just be thankful.
They should be the favorite.
Yeah, be thankful and enjoy it. That's what I do.
We're seeing a historic team.
Like, dude, I stay up late, like 1 o'clock in the morning to see. I'm glad when they blow teams out, so I can go to bed early. You know what I mean? Wrapping up here with Jovan Buha of ESPN.com. Now, I got to talk to you about the George Karl situation. I was talking about it before you came on tonight. Now, a lot of people, like you said, people get lazy, and they see old white man, they see young black dude. Uh-oh, what's happening here? What I see, Jovan, kind of that same dynamic, but on a bigger scale. I see the old guard watching a power shift happen right before their eyes. These guys, these Pat Rileys, these Phil Jacksons, these George Karls, these guys who were these omnipotent type names in basketball, seeing guys named LeBron and Chris Paul and Carmelo control the game. In the NBA, the players, for however it happened, have found a way to gain control of their situations, and I don't think a lot of the old guard like it. You talked about earlier, use the word loyalty. Pat Riley has too. So did my man in Cleveland, the owner of the Cleveland Cavs. Where do you see me at? Am I crazy for thinking that it's not as no pun intended black and white as people think? I think it's a bigger issue, in the construct of the power as far as the NBA goes.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more, and I think that's why, historically, Michael Jordan obviously is the best player ever, and is probably the most important because while Magic and Larry kind of saved basketball when it used to be on tape delay in the finals and stuff like that,
right? Jordan
took it to another level. Jordan made it, probably the second most popular sport right now in America behind football. And Jordan took it, probably the most famous athlete of all time, arguably the biggest, professional athlete brand of all time. So Jordan took it there, but I think, you mentioned LeBron. I think that's where LeBron hasn't necessarily gotten enough credit because I think LeBron kind of took that baton from Jordan and took things to another level. Absolutely. Where LeBron, you kind of see everything with him has been about empowering himself. And it was, I'm not happy in Cleveland, so I'm going to go to Miami and create a super team, and I'm going to win on my terms. And now I did that in Miami. I'm going to come back home and win, a ring for my hometown and kind of appease those fans. And everything with him and his, his friends and business partners and stuff like that. Like, you've just seen this guy kind of treat himself as a business from day one.
Yep.
And kind of follow that Jordan model, but take it even further in some regards. And I think LeBron has kind of had that effect on this kind of generation of players, and has kind of been the leader of that. And you've seen, I think players, I think that's the biggest difference between the NBA and college basketball. Still in college basketball, it's the program, it's the coach,
right?
It's kind of the culture. In the NBA, it really is players. You can have, Miami has had a very good culture the last, 15 or so years, 15, 20 years. But you only see Miami winning when they have Shaq and Dwayne Wade, or they have LeBron and Wade and Bosh.
Absolutely.
Right now, Miami's, they still have Spoelstra, they still have Riley, they still have a, good ownership, but the Heat are garbage. They're the fourth or fifth worst team in the league right now. So, but where I'm going with that is just basically, I think players have kind of been empowered the last 10, 15 years, and I think they've realized they are the driving force of the NBA. It's not the commissioner, it's not the owners, it's not the GM, it's not the coaches, it is the players. And I think they kind of finally feel empowered enough to kind of embrace that and kind of use that leverage to their advantage. And I think that's kind of why we had that lockout 5 years ago. That was sort of the culmination of that, of the players realizing, hey, we're more valuable than anything. You guys don't have a league without these players.
Right.
So, to your point, I do think that's a thing, and I think you saw it with Phil Jackson's posse comments.
Yep.
I think you saw it with George Karl's comments in this book, which I think were completely out of line. And you see with this type of stuff, these guys are trying to hold on to the way things were, and it's not like that anymore. And never going to be.
My man. Jovan, I appreciate it. Oh, man, you don't know how much I've been wanting to talk basketball, like just have a basketball conversation with somebody. You sure enough, you scratched that itch, man. We're going to do it again real soon, my man. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right.
Look forward to talking to you.
He's Jovan Buha, everybody, from ESPN.com. He's an NBA editor. Make sure you guys are following him on all social media at JOVANBUHA. We're going to come back. We're going to talk to Rand Carthon. We got to talk about player evaluations and things of that nature in NBA. Find out about these kids not playing in these bowl games and whatnot. That seems to be a big hot topic. We're going to do it next on the One Mic with Big Mike show here on Spreaker.com, the Spreaker app, as well as on TuneIn, and, of course, OneMic.com.
Well, I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
Go, Caleb! Come on, hit a homer, Jesse!
Let's go, guys!
Hey, did you guys know that kids who play sports earn more money when they grow up?
Of course. I knew that.
Hey, did you guys know that kids who read books have a bigger vocabulary?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Wow, jinx. Did you guys know that friendly children have more friends?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's true, I knew that. Did you guys know that winter babies are better at music?
Everyone knows that.
Oh, yeah?
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
obvious.
Oh, hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Huh, I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure I knew that.
I'm pretty sure you didn't.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
One Mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One Mic with Big Mike.
Ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One Mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah I Bang Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
Oh, I ain't turned my mic on. That's why you couldn't hear me. Why y'all ain't tell me the mic going on? Yeah, that's my bad, brother. You can hear me now, right?
Hold on. I don't know if it's me or... Hello?
Yeah, it's me. I'm still here, brother. We're trying to work it out here with my man Rand.
Sit still.
Trying to get... Where you at?
Hello?
You out there in L.A.?
Yeah, I'm out here in L.A.
Yeah, man. Every time I talk to somebody from out there, y'all got terrible cell service out there, man. What's really good with that? Yeah, see.
What it is. I got reception, I can't...
Y'all be in those valleys and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, every time I have somebody on from out there.
It just keeps going in and out. I'm catching, like, faint words.
Oh, man. And I really wanted to have this conversation with you, too, man. Look, you went from making my week to destroying it in like 30 seconds. You sure you can't hear me?
All right, hold on. See, now I'm in, like, a karate stance, standing by the window.
Karate. Oh, man.
All right, I can hear you. I can hear you better now.
Okay, there we go, man. Good, man. Because, like, the thing is, the reason I wanted to have you on, and I didn't even think about it till you said something. You was like, man, we can't be talking about Coach Fisher. And I was like, well, damn, I ain't really, I don't care. My man didn't win enough games, and in a production industry, you don't produce. Things like that happen. So I wanted to talk to you about your job, dealing with the players, the scouting department, and all that kind of stuff. Most people think they know what scouts do, what the player personnel people do. But tell us actually, what is your gig?
All right, so I am. My title is Director of Pro Personnel.
Pro Personnel, okay.
So I'm basically in charge of the day-to-day maintenance of all NFL rosters, for not only the Rams, but all the other 31 teams. We're in charge of the daily waiver wire, which is an email we get every day of every player that's been cut, every player that's had a tryout. And, so I have to maintain that in what we call the emergency list. So it's the next available guy to bring in, if we have an injury. So that's, for a practice squad, roster situation, if we need to bring a guy in on the 53, we do the week-to-week scouting reports of our opponents, which we call advanced scouting reports. So my department, we're always a week ahead of the team.
Oh, gotcha.
We do that. We do free agency. So at the end of the year, when the next crop of, guys whose contracts are expiring, we organize that kind of. My department and I, we'll watch every single free agent in the league, and then we'll ID guys at certain positions. And we meet with the general manager, head coach, kind of and give them a shorter version of the list. These are the guys that we like, and we'll proceed to give that list to our coaching staff. Our coaching staff watches those guys, and then from there we'll have a free agency meeting to determine which guys we want to go after. I have to know player markets, what each player is going to command on the open market, player comparisons, who can we compare this player to around the league and why and how. It's a lot. It's a lot that goes into it. I can remember, telling one of my cousins who's a big football fan, knows his stuff, and just had him in the office with me for a couple of days. And he was like, man, he was like, to the outside world, nobody will ever know that this goes on.
Exactly.
He's like, all we know is, I work all week and then I turn on the TV on Sunday and there's a product.
Right.
I don't get to see the building and the making of it. So, and then also, I'm general manager trusts me and gives me, top 150 to top 200 college prospects. So, I'll do those guys that, depending on how we have them ranked. And then this year I had the responsibility of being responsible for 6 colleges. So I had to go into those schools, identify players that can play, that can help us on some level, and, do character background and just full evaluations on those guys as well.
Let's talk about that for a second. Like, how aware are the coaching staff of college prospects? Do you guys just kind of keep that stuff and file that stuff until this time of year, or not this time of year, but till the season is over, right before the All-Star games and the drafts, or do they get small reports, the coaches, on these players throughout the season?
Well, they won't get anything throughout the season.
Okay.
Their focus for the season is, developing our players. And, getting a game plan together and trying to, go out and win football games. So once the season is over, most coaches will take a week or two to kind of decompress and do some self-evaluations of our roster, and then most of them are ready to, jump right into it and look to improve the roster. So from there, our college director, Brad Holmes, who we have here, and just most college directors around the league, they'll get with the general manager, the head coach, and then they'll start giving them lists of guys, and we do it in tiers. So you'll have your tier 1 group, tier 2 group, tier 3, and then we'll start the coaching staffs off and watching those guys, getting them ready for the all-star games. Then the coaches will hit, different all-star games. Most, coaches love to go to the Senior Bowl, see the top senior prospects there, so they'll go and watch them. And usually by combine, for us, most of our coaches will have seen, all the top guys at their position groups. And so that way they'll be prepared walking into the interviews that we have with the players at the combine. They'll know the guy, the strengths and weaknesses of his game, so when we bring him in the interview, they can talk to him about those things.
Gotcha. See, right now, Rand, you probably don't know this. And by the way, I'm talking to the director of pro personnel for the L.A. Rams. He's also a former University of Florida running back. His name is Rand Carthon. Am I saying your name right? Rand Carthon or Carthon?
Yep.
Carthon?
Yep, Carthon.
All right. You probably boring the hell out of most people, but I don't give a damn. I love this stuff. Like when this time of year comes around and we're getting ready to go to the combine and the All-Star games, that's when like my ears perk up because I wanna see the evaluation process. And now I'm not just getting to eat the hot dog. I'm getting to see a little bit of how the hot dog is made, and most people ain't really down for that life. They just want to eat it. But I want to see how it's made. So let's talk about those interviews at the combine, because that seems to be when I talk to the players, I want to know what's going on in there. You go ahead with what you were saying. I'm sorry.
So what we usually do in the interviews, each coach will make what we call a POA tape, so a point of attack tape, or a POI, which is point of interest. And they'll, basically break down the player, show them some good plays. Hey, man, I like what you did here with your eyes. Your eyes were in the right place. Show them, and then also cue up some mistakes and say, hey, what happened right here? And give the player the chance, hey, what, coach, I was wrong in my technique, or I thought I saw this. And so that way you get to see how this guy's thinking.
He was accountable.
When he's on the field.
Yeah.
And you get to compare, you get to talk to them about, their calls that they may have made. If we're talking about a linebacker, you get a guy like Alec Ogletree. Hey, man, what were y'all calling on this play? And what was your responsibility? So that way now you get to see if their verbiage matches up with ours.
Now,
and say, okay, well, this is what we call that. Whatever you just called it, we call it this.
Try to translate it for them.
Sometimes you only get 15 minutes with the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So for some players who have clean backgrounds, who have no character stuff in the background, you get to stick to the board and do more football stuff. Versus, guys who may have some incidents, suspensions or whatever it may be, now you get to dig into the person a little bit more.
Gotcha.
And say, hey, is this a college kid that made a dumb mistake? Or, is this a habitual offender? And somebody we, need to steer clear of. So it's a bunch of different things that can go on in the interview based off of, that player and their background.
Well, at what point do the crazy questions come in? Because I always ask prospects when I have them on any show I've hosted. I always ask them about the crazy questions. And last year we heard some doozies. And I'm thinking like this year, if you need one, I got a couple for you. Like you can sit there, like say you got like I don't know if J.J. Watt's brother's coming out this year, but I just picture him being the person I'm interviewing. You could be like, hey, so T.J. Watt, good season. Do you think Black Lives Matter? Or did you vote for Trump, TJ? Just throw something. Are those legal? You can't ask me if you got a girlfriend, but can you ask me who you voted for, or can you ask me if Black Lives Matter?
You know what? I think some of those questions most people want to stay away from. You know what I mean? And I think I can just think back to when I was coming out and I was at the combine. There was a team that interviewed me, and they brought me in the room and made me comfortable, high-fiving me, dapping me up. Hey, brother, glad to see you, and I'm like, coming. Oh, man, like, oh, yeah, these people cool, yeah. And then they was like, you ready to get started? I'm like, of course, let's sit down, let's do it. As soon as I sat down, they turned the camcorder on, put the spotlight on me, You know, like I was on First 48 getting interviewed by Detective
By the
Mason.
snitch.
And, hey, do you smoke weed? I'm like, whoa. Like, no, I don't.
You should be like, you got some?
Like, are you sure? I'm like, I'm positive. Do you drink? Yeah. So if you drink, why don't you smoke? It's not my thing.
Because it comes in packages.
You know what I mean? Do you have friends that smoke? Yeah, I have friends that smoke. So why don't you smoke? Because I don't do everything my friends do.
That's awesome.
You know, and I think for that club who interviewed me, I think they was trying to see how well I handled the pressure.
No doubt. By interrogating you like Osama bin Laden. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And when I left, like when it was done, I was walking out. I was like, man, what the hell just happened? and at that point, I was like, man, I hope this team doesn't pick me.
Right.
You know,
like they trying to strike you off their list. You done struck them off your list.
Yeah. When I was done, they were like, oh man, hey, good job. You know, and I'm like, hold on, how do we flip it? Like I'm confused now.
What the hell?
But I think it's some teams' tactics just to see how they handle pressure.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, in my experience here with the Rams, you know, this is the, you know, because I was with the Falcons before and I wasn't really involved in the draft process.
Okay.
But my experience here with the Rams, like, you know, we don't have time, you know, for that. And again, you only get 15 minutes with the kids.
Yeah.
You know, so we kind of stick to just the football stuff and getting to know the person versus trying to, you know, do some crazy stuff just to be, you know, those people.
Well, I mean, feel free to use those questions I gave you. You mentioned guys with character issues, and that's going to be an issue this year. I just right when I started the show, I saw the kid Joe Mixon on my TV. There's him. There's a couple kids, Dalvin Cook, this kid Dede Westbrook, that have been involved in certain incidents. Some of them involving young ladies, and you know the NFL has, you know, is projecting an image of, you know, we care about the ladies, so we got to do more. How do you handle that type of stuff? Not just that, but that type of stuff when it comes to risk versus reward. Like, at what point? Randy Gregory is going to start practicing this week. He was a first-round talent, had some weed about him. You know, he was a weed guy, and now became a second-round talent, missed a couple of games this year. At what point does Randy Gregory's talent make it acceptable? Him, the kid from that's in Seattle now, that was Frank Clark. Guys like that, at what point do their talent kind of supersede the other bull crap that they have on their resumes?
Well, I'll say this, and I'm not speaking on behalf of my organization when I say this.
Absolutely.
I think it really does matter on the organization and its core beliefs and philosophies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just in terms of second chances, there for me personally, there are certain things that I think are forgiven. Or can be more forgiving than others. Like I have daughters.
Gotcha.
So for me personally, I can't do a guy that's put his hands on a woman or has been involved in a domestic dispute with a woman, or you know the whole rape culture.
Gotcha.
I can't get down with that, and that's me speaking personally.
I got you.
Because in my mind, I can't justify coming home to my daughter, and my girls are aware of football. You know, and particularly my baby girl. Mm-hmm. I mean, how can I explain to her that, oh, he can run the ball well, so it's okay if he beat up his girlfriend.
Right.
You know, and that's just me personally. I would stay, you know, away from those types. But, you know, I mean, we've all been, you know, 18, 19, 20, 21 and have made mistakes.
Absolutely.
You know, I always feel like, you know, if we got caught doing half of the crazy stuff we were doing in college, we wouldn't be in a position we're in.
Man.
You know, we're in, you know, these positions now because we were smart enough to not get caught.
Right.
So we've all been down that road. So I never want to be the holier than thou person, you know, but it's just certain things for me personally that I wouldn't be able to look past.
The other voice that you're hearing is Rand Carthon right here on the One Mike with Big Mike show. He is the pro personnel director for the LA Rams, also a former running back at the University of Florida for all you Gators fans out there. The reason that I thought about you, and the reason I told my man Ben, I was like, I gotta get a scout on, somebody in the scouting department on, because all week long you've been hearing this craziness, people kind of speaking for people in your position, but I would venture to guess that they have never been in your position, about guys like Christian McCaffrey and Leonard Fournette not playing these bowl games, and you know they're gonna have to ask some questions about this at the combine. About now, people are gonna question their commitment to the game. Really, Rand? Really? Like somebody in your position would be like, you know what, we can't do we can't mess with Leonard Fournette because he ain't playing the Holiday Bowl. You know what I mean? Am I crazy to think that that's crazy?
No, I mean, and again, like my perspective is different from most, because I've played the game.
Yeah.
And
so most people who do what you do don't play? I would think that would give you some sort of an advantage, though.
I mean, it's a split. I will say that the league is making a more conscious effort to get more former players involved.
Okay.
In scouting. And most guys, whether they played in the league or college or high school, most guys have a football background.
Gotcha.
But, when it comes to those type situations is, at the end of the day, I understand, or I look at it as, these guys are the, founder, president, and CEO of their own company.
Damn right.
And so what they're doing is they're doing something what they feel is in the best interest of their company and themselves. Most of these guys have a short shelf life. And so I wouldn't question, me personally, I wouldn't question those guys' commitment, but I would want to sit down and, what was the thought process behind it?
Yeah.
What was the driving force behind it? And I'm pretty sure there's a logical answer, and so I wouldn't, kill a guy, so to speak, because he sat out the bowl game. Now, there are some that are, I've seen some of the statements have come out this week, and I understand their standpoint.
Yeah.
The whole you quit on your team, that type of thing. But I think in this day and age, in this generation, I don't even think, these guys' teammates look at it like that.
Yeah, because they all hope to be in that position one day. You guys drafted Jared Goff, and so I figured I could ask you a quarterback questions because you guys aren't going to be in the market for a quarterback again in the first round. The one thing I want to ask when you're evaluating quarterbacks, when you're evaluating a free agent quarterback, whether it's somebody to come back up, or you're looking for the face of your franchise for the next 15 years, what are the most prevalent qualities that you seem to find in a successful NFL quarterback, whether it be mentally, whether it be physically, whether it be a combination of the two? What do you see as most important when it comes to the qualities of a successful NFL quarterback when you're evaluating?
For me personally, I say this. I've been blessed to have been around some good ones, right? So when I played, in the league, I came in as a rookie with Peyton Manning. So I got to live through that for 3 years. I get into scouting in 2008, and Atlanta had drafted Matt Ryan. So I got to live with that, for 3 years. And I think for me personally, what I like to see in a quarterback is when that person steps, let's take away from the film first.
Okay.
When that person steps into the building, you look at him and say, oh, yeah, that's the guy right there.
Okay, so you got like an aura about him.
Yeah, a presence.
Yeah.
That's what I like to call it. He has a presence. When that dude walks in the room, that's the quarterback.
There it is.
And then just from a physical standpoint, something I learned from Coach Parcells, he always says, give me a guy that's accurate, a guy that's tough, and a smart guy. Because it doesn't matter. I mean, we all, just think about us growing up, playing in the backyard. First person you picked was the dude who can throw the ball the furthest.
Right.
Or the fast guy. But it didn't matter if he can throw the ball 90 yards, you got to be able to hit the target.
Mm-hmm.
So give me a leader of men, who's accurate, who's tough, and just has that aura and that presence. That's what I look for. There are guys that, in my years of doing it, that when you watching them on the film, you can feel them, through the TV.
Wow.
In crunch time situations, it's like, oh, okay, man, this dude took his game to another level.
Yeah.
He put the team on his back, and he led them down the field in a crunch time situation, or he got that first down the team needed to ice the clock. It was on him and how his teammates respond to him, and you can see that sometimes on tape. And those are usually, the really good ones that we talk about every Sunday.
Dude, you're like that kid in high school that gets to take a porn star to prom. It's like after that, you've been around Peyton Manning and Matt Ryan. Like after that, like how does anybody else, measure up? Like in this draft coming up, you see any kids that you think might have those type of qualities that you're talking about? You got guys like Kaiser and Watson coming out. The kid from Miami, what's his name? Felicia's baby.
Brad Kaya.
Yeah, Felicia's baby. Yeah.
Felicia's baby. Now, I'll be honest with you, man. I hadn't studied those guys yet. I usually try to say the quarterbacks for last.
Gotcha.
Just because of the importance of that pick. Not to say that any other pick is not important,
mm-hmm.
when you draft a quarterback, you got to get them right.
Yeah, you got to have that guy, right?
Those are guys that I would like to. I like to wait, particularly the senior quarterbacks. I like to wait and see them after the All-Star circuit.
Gotcha.
You know, like for example, when Carson Wentz came out last year, you know, you see him on tape. You know, he was from the FCS level. So my thing was, okay, he looked pretty damn good on that level. I was like, let me see him at the Senior Bowl first. You know,
and
where
well
he's
playing
with real NFL caliber speed, players that are going to get a shot in the league. Let me see him then. You know what I mean? So I would want to see, how Deshaun performs throughout the playoffs. You know, just to see where he's gone from a maturation standpoint of being there last year and now here this year. What has he learned from last year's experience to take it moving forward? I have a brief little history with Deshaun from my time with the Falcons, and he was one of the ball boys.
Word.
So, I kind of remember him walking around the building, a little bit. But, for the other guys, I would want to be able to take my time and spend a full day, studying them, looking at games, going back a couple years just to see how they matured, from their first year to their last year.
Speaking of maturity, and then we're wrapping up here with Rand Carthon, the LA Rams pro personnel director of pro personnel is what I mean to be saying. Speaking of maturing, a guy who won't be in this year's draft, the Heisman Trophy winner, Lamar Jackson. Now, we know all about his positive. Now, I know you're probably not studying him, but just as a fan, I know you've seen the kid play. As a fan of football, watching him play, what do you think is going to be what do you think are going to be his challenges in taking that next step to be that guy that you're talking about, either physically, mentally, any of those things, to be that when he walks in the room, it's like, bang, that's our guy?
Well, I think for him, right now, it's I think it's a few things, right? So I think he has to continue to develop, as a passer. Obviously we know he's a dynamic athlete. He can beat you with his arm, he can beat you with his legs, but just, becoming more of that passer, using and just getting better as a passer, what to say, perfecting his craft.
Gotcha.
From a fundamental standpoint. And again, like you said, I hadn't studied him, watched him on TV. Just the nose gifts to try to perfect something else. Just continue to add that, to your ability to run. And I think he'll continue to grow that way. All
right, last thing I got for you, and we saw that we're seeing it now with the maturity of guys like Marcus Mariota up there in Tennessee. So here's the last thing I got for you, and it's a real doozy. So get prepared. ATL or LA? Because when I talk to my folks out in LA, I was talking to Guy Torrey the other day, and that seems like another world to me, homeboy. I've never been out there, but it seems like a whole nother universe out there. So you've been in both. You're out there in LA now. You've been here in the ATL or LA.
So it's funny that you bring up Guy because I just talked to Guy last night.
Okay, that's my guy. Yeah.
So Guy's one of the homies, but ATL or LA. I'm a Southern boy at heart.
Yeah.
So I'm always choose, that side. We really loved our time in Atlanta. And, my wife, I can remember my wife, she always says, when it's all said and done, no matter where we've lived, we're going to end up back in Atlanta.
There it is.
Living. And just for me being, and I love it out here in LA, I really do. But for me being a Southern boy, I would prefer the A because I always tell people, Atlanta has something for everybody, no matter what you into.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
it though?
And it's just the Southern hospitality, man. It's nothing like being down south and being home.
Well, man, Rand, I appreciate it, man. I'm full, dude. This is what I needed, dude. I needed to know everything that you gave me because when I start watching the combine, I want to be able to, try to put myself a little bit in the place of you guys and what are you guys seeing and what are you guys looking at and what are these guys here for and all this kind of thing. So I definitely 100% appreciate your time, and hopefully we can do it again soon down the road, my man.
Yeah, man, we definitely got to do it again. Closer. We'll get closer to the combine because there's so much more that I know I'm leaving out. But we can continue to rap and move forward. I love talking the game of football. I tell people all the time, man. At the end of the day, I get paid to watch football.
There it is.
So it doesn't matter, if I was, whatever I did for a living or chose to do for a living, I would probably still come home, put on NFL Network, put on SportsCenter, and I'm just blessed to be in a position to get paid to watch football all day.
That's what it is, man. Hey, man, enjoy your time with your family over the holidays, man, and stay safe, man. And, hey, good luck out there in L.A., brother.
All right, man. Appreciate it, man. Happy holidays.
All right, same to you. Once again, he's Ran Carthon, former University of Florida running back. Also, right now, he's currently the director of pro. God, what the hell is wrong with my mouth? Pro personnel for the LA Rams, man. If you guys, I know, man, some of you guys like, oh, it's too nerdy and too football-y. I don't give a damn. I mean, this is what I want to talk about, and this is stuff I want to know. And we're going to have Ran on again. He just said it, man, towards the combine. We're going to get some more information. I got my other guy, Alex Kavtoff, our draft guy. He's going to be doing a bunch of draft stuff for us. So, just get ready. We're going to come back. We're going to close out the show. Got to do on this day before we get up out of here. We're going to get into the weekend, man, and get you guys ready for your holiday celebrations. You know, shout out to my people, Renee. She out there doing her thing with the fam, having her holiday party. It is the One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm here, man. Spreaker.com. I'm also on the Spreaker app. And tune in, and, of course, One Mic with Big Mike. I'll be right back. Or OneMicWithBigMike.com.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at OneMicWithBigMike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
You must have thrown 1,000 pitches teaching him to hit a home run. Spent countless Saturdays running routes so he could learn to hit an open receiver. Endless afternoons teaching him how to hit the three-pointer. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit? Teaching boys that all violence against women is wrong is one of the most important things a man can do. Learn how to start the conversation at teachearly.org. Brought to you by Futures Without Violence and the Ad Council.
And now back to One Mic with Big Mike.
And here we go.
Work it, make it, do it. Makes us harder, better, faster, stronger. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us
stronger. Woo, almost out of here, man. Almost officially into the weekend right here. The One Mic with Big Mike show is rolling on right here on Spreaker.com. I'm also on the Spreaker app. Tune in as well as the website, OneMicWithBigMike.com. You can also hear the show on demand. Did 2 interviews today, man. Jovan Buha of ESPN.com joined me at 7:30. And if you're listening on demand at the 30-minute mark. And my man, Ran Carthon, joined me. He's a pro personnel director for the LA Rams. Just gave me some meat, man. Some that ain't sound right. You just that fulfilling information, man. Just got some of that from my man Ran Carthon. So I definitely appreciate him joining me from out there in LA. If you guys want to hear the show on demand, you can get it on all the outlets I've already mentioned, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and you can catch the video and the audio on YouTube. Make sure you're following me. Like my Facebook page is where I'm streaming the live video at right now. I'm streaming live video on Facebook right now at One Mic with Big Mike. Also, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the same handle. If you guys want to get in on the conversation, just send me a text to 404-902-8104. You can also jump inside my live interactive chat room by clicking the little thought bubble icon that you see located on the streaming player. It'll get you right inside the chat room. The streaming player is located only available. The chat room is only available on Spreaker or my website, OneMicWithBigMike.com. Or you can just leave your comments below the video stream here on Facebook, www.facebook.com/ what is it? One Mic with Big Mike. I'm sorry, I saw something that caught my attention real quick, so it threw me off. But now, it's the time in the show. We had to push it back a couple of segments, but we got to still get it in. Our daily segment, or every show segment, we don't do it daily. We will start doing it daily in 2017, though. But for right now, it is on this day.
Now, let's take a look back. On this day.
All right, the final on this day for this week. If I can find the damn thing. All right, excuse me. On this day in 1946, the University of Tennessee refuses to play Duquesne University. Guess why, everybody? because they may use a black player in their basketball game. Like, I guess it wasn't even definite that the bro was going to play. It was like, nope, if you're going to play that Negro, we don't want no parts of it. I don't blame him. 1946, bros was probably still mad as hell about a bunch of other stuff. And the ability to go out there and dominate on the basketball court, man, these white boys weren't feeling it. So those volunteers volunteered not to play. On this day in 1951, it was the first coast-to-coast televised football game. Dumont was the company that paid $75,000 to see the L.A. Rams beat the Cleveland Browns 24-17 in the NFL championship game. That happened. That actually happened. The Rams played the Browns, not these Rams, and damn sure not these Browns. On this day in 1972, the Immaculate Reception, but the Pittsburgh Steelers turns around a 7-6 defeat with a last-second touchdown reception against the Oakland Raiders. It's probably one of the most controversial plays in NFL history. Franco Harris, after the big hit by Jack Tatum, scoops the ball up. There was some sort of rule or something. They couldn't contact the other player before you caught it or something crazy like that. But whatever. John Madden, stay mad, bruh. On this day in 1975, a landmark decision by Pete Seitz, S-E-I-T-S, begins a new era in Major League Baseball as the arbitrator's judgment makes pitchers Andy Messersmith and Dave McNally the first true free agents in baseball history. Shout out to Curt Flood for that. If you guys don't know who Curt Flood is, Google it. He's responsible for almost all this damn money that's going around in professional sports right now, this free agency and this player movement. Shout out to Curt Flood, man. On this day in 1991, the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Chuck Noll retired after 23 seasons. He was the only coach to win 4 Super Bowls, and at that point, he was the only coach to have coached that team. He was then followed by Bill Cowher, and now, of course, Mike Tomlin. 3 coaches in an entire history of a team. Those were the days. On this day in 1994, baseball owners imposed a salary cap, and, of course, it was fiercely opposed by the players. And then finally, on this day in 1997, the Chicago Bulls coach, Phil Jackson, is the quickest to reach 500 wins. It only took him 682 games to do so. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your final version of On This Day for the week. All right, getting back into I don't even know where to start now. I want to just end the show, after all that good, information, that basketball talk, my man Jovan, and the football, the scouting elements that we got from Rand. And Rand said he left a bunch of stuff on the table, so we got to go ahead and, scrape that up. I know I'm talking about a lot of food, ladies, maybe because I'm hungry as hell. Damn it, I'm hungry. Let's just clean. See, I'm about to do it again. Let's just clean the plate real quick and then get the hell up out of here. We had Thursday night football last night in the NFL. The Eagles beat the Giants, keeping the Giants out the playoffs so far. The Giants loss gives Dallas the NFC East and, of course, the top seed in the NFL. We got Saturday football this week, so let me make sure I give you guys the football schedule. And remember, set your fantasy lineups, man. If you're in the championship or even if you're trying to get that second place trophy, set your lineups or whatnot. So I just mentioned we had the Giants and the Eagles. The Eagles won 24-19. Eli threw a bunch of picks. Everybody was dropping footballs. It's a terrible, terrible performance. At 1 o'clock, these 1 o'clock games, the Falcons got to travel to North Carolina to take on the Panthers. The Dolphins trying to get into the playoffs, and I'll give you guys the scenarios here in just a second. They travel to Buffalo on the road in the wintertime in Buffalo with their coach coaching for his job, presumably, or he may be already out, dead man walking. But Miami goes to Buffalo. You got the Redskins taking on the Bears. In Chicago, the Jets are going to the Patriots. Y'all see what happened to Todd Bowles? That stress killing his ass up there. That badass team and Ryan Fitzpatrick and all them boys, they about to kill Todd Bowles. We already ain't got that many black coaches. You can't just kill one off. That stress. It may have something to do with a high pork diet as well too. But I'm just racially profiling my man anyway. The Chargers, they got to go to Cleveland, man, and people are saying Cleveland might get this one, man. Like, this might be the referee just got hit in the face on this basketball game. The Browns might, God, I don't know. No faith in the Browns, man. The Titans, they got to go take on the Jaguars. They're trying to get into the playoffs as well. Not the Jaguars, the Titans. The Vikings, that crap show. They go to the Packers. Adrian Peterson just got deactivated. I don't know for the season, but he won't play this week. And you remember what he said? If we're out of it, I'm out of it. With his 6 carries, 22 yards last week. But the Packers need the game, though. The Packers actually need that game. The Colts got to take on the Raiders. The Colts actually need that game against the Raiders. The Buccaneers need that game against the Saints. They got to travel to New Orleans, though. The 49ers and the Rams, no one needs that game. No one. Shout out to my man Ram, but that's just real talk. And then, rivalry against Broncos and the Chiefs. Then Monday night, the Lions and the Cowboys. The Lions got everything to play for. The Cowboys, as I mentioned earlier, have absolutely, positively nothing to play for. We got about 20 minutes left here on the One Mic with Big Mike show for the week. Next week, we're going to do Monday and Wednesday next week. And then, just go ahead and kill the rest of everything for the, for the new year coming in. And next week at some point, we're going to talk about you guys and your damn, your New Year's resolutions and all that crazy malarkey. All right. So anyway, here we go. Let me give you guys these scenarios real quick. Keep up if you can. You'll hear the name of your favorite team somewhere along the lines here. The Giants, they can still get in this weekend. As of now, the Cowboys, the Seahawks, the New England Patriots, and the Oakland Raiders are the only teams who have clinched playoff spots. So moving forward, back to the Giants. Detroit is one of 4 teams whose Week 16 defeat will lock up the Giants' playoff spot. If Tampa loses, if Green Bay loses, and the Falcons lose, and I already mentioned the Detroit Lions losing, the Giants get in. The Giants are in if the Packers, Bucks, or Lions so much as tie. Even if the Lions, Bucks, Packers, and Falcons win, the Giants still would be able to clinch with a January 1st victory in Washington or losses by any of those teams in Week 17 of the season. All right, moving on to the Baltimore Ravens. A win at home over the Baltimore. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, okay. A win at home over Baltimore gives Pittsburgh the AFC North title, but if the Ravens win, Baltimore would be 2-0 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the two would be tied atop the division at 9-6, which means the Ravens could clinch the division title next week. Or if the Steelers lose to the Browns, I'll keep it moving. I'll just move on. We mentioned Tom Savage earlier. Tom Macho Man Savage. Okay. If the Tennessee Titans lose the Jaguars, the Houston Texans, the Houston Texans will take the field that night, knowing that a win at home over the Bengals would clinch them the AFC South title. That can't be a thing. I mean, all those teams are bad, so who cares? But if Tennessee wins on Saturday, Houston's night game doesn't matter because the Texans would have to go to Nashville next week to beat the Titans head-to-head for the division crown. If both the Texans and the Titans lose Saturday, the Colts can still the Colts still have a chance. God, oh my God. Okay, here are the Packers. If the Packers win their last 2 games, easy. They'll win the NFC North. But the Packers could actually clinch the playoff spot this week. The Packers win, the Washington loses, Tampa Bay loses, and Atlanta either wins or ties. Boom, division title for the Packers. Green Bay is the key is for Green Bay to win at home on Saturday against the Minnesota Vikings, beat the Lions next week in Detroit for the division title. Simple. Here are the Dolphins, the perennial 9-7 Dolphins, and they still have a chance to beat that 9-7 team too. They're 9-5 right now, so they're in if they win in Buffalo. Simple as that. Winning, you're in on Saturday, and if the Broncos lose to Kansas City on Sunday, and if the Broncos lose to Kansas City on Saturday, I'm reading with the wrong inflection. They could get in if they tie Baltimore and Denver both lose, and either Houston or Tennessee loses or ties. All right. I'm losing myself in this. The Chiefs will lock up their playoff spot if they win or tie, or if Baltimore loses or ties. They win on Sunday. A win on Sunday means they go into Week 17 with a chance to still take the AFC West. The whole time we thought the Raiders had it locked up, right? No, they lost some games they shouldn't have lost. Here's Seattle. For the Seahawks to ensure themselves as the NFC's number 2 seed this week, they need to beat Arizona on Saturday. Atlanta needs to lose or tie with Carolina, and the Lions need to lose in Dallas on Monday. So all those things need to happen. All right, the Lions is pretty long, but I know some of you guys are Lions fans, so here you go. If the Packers lose or tie on Saturday, the Lions can clinch the NFC North or with a win on Monday night in Dallas. What? This should say the Lions. It says the Packers. If the Lions lose, the Packers. Sorry, the Lions can clinch the NFC North with a win on Monday night in Dallas. Okay, if the Packers lose on Saturday, the Lions would only have to tie on Monday to clinch the division because that's like a half a win. We talked about that earlier in the season. Half a win, half a loss. Depends on the situation that you're in. If Tampa Bay loses or ties, Detroit can get a playoff spot with a win on Monday. And if Tampa Bay loses, Washington loses, or ties, and Atlanta wins or ties, then the Lions clinch a playoff spot before they even take the field on Monday. That's probably the best case scenario, I guess, right? But if they don't get the help they need in Week 7 this week, and they fall in Dallas, the Lions could face a Week 17 game against the Packers that they need to win just to get into postseason. Not even to win the division to get into the postseason. For my folks here in Atlanta, here's yours. If the Buccaneers lose or tie in New Orleans and the Falcons win in Carolina, Atlanta is the NFC South champ. If the Bucs lose, all the Falcons have to do is tie the Panthers to be the division champs. The Falcons can clinch a playoff spot if they win, and either the Lions or Packers lose, or if they win and the results of the other games clinch them the strength of victory tiebreaker over Detroit. If Washington loses or ties and Green Bay loses, and Atlanta is in no matter what. The same is true if Washington loses or ties, the Lions lose, and the Packers tie. Yeah. All they're looking for right now is a shot at the number 2 seed. That's what the Falcons really want. They want that first playoff game or that first week in the playoffs off, that bye. And then here we have the Buccaneers. They win, the Packers lose, the Lions lose, and Washington loses. They're in. If you're a Bucs fan, you're not rooting for the Vikings, Bears, and Cowboys. But at the end of it all, guess what? The Buccaneers still have to lose. And those are your remaining, your playoff scenarios as of this week. Did y'all see this thing about this spring developmental league that's supposed to be, I don't know, I think it's starting like next year, 2017 in the spring, which sounds like, yeah, that's cool, but it's really not as cool as it may sound. Like, it's going to be like, I think 4 teams that play for 6 weeks or something, and no one knows. It's going to be like veterans, guys who would have, those type of guys who would show up at these veteran combines or whatever. But, like, how you going to field 4 teams of those guys? No college guys, none of that stuff. That's ridiculous. What up, Shawty? I am no dose. No notification again. Hey man, check your Spreaker, man. I think there's like a check. I am no dose in the chat room, you guys. You guys can get in there for the last couple minutes of the show as well. If you just go to Spreaker, the app, onemicwithbigmike.com, you'll see a little thought bubble on the streaming player. Just click on that, join. A couple steps later, you'll be in the live interactive chat room. Check your settings on Spreaker, my man, because I think there's like a little box that you have to check to opt in to the notifications or whatever. And then over the weekend, I'll see if I can see what I can figure out. Renee ain't here today, so the person, like the smart person out of the two of us, she doing Christmas partying and whatever that stuff is. So she'll be back on Monday, I think. I ain't talked to her, I ain't talked to her about that. So maybe she'll be back on Monday. But yeah, this developmental situation, like, it sounds like a good idea, but in reality, first of all, it's a rumor. It has no affiliation with the NFL, so that's going to be hard as well. And to get players that people want to watch to do this right around, it's going to be right around like draft time too. So for those dudes to even think that they're going to get a shot in the league is, that's a pipe dream anyway, because by that time, dudes, I mean, you guys heard Rand Carthon last segment, right? These dudes is constantly working on free agents. So if you ain't on nobody's list then, it's going to be hard pressed for you to play in some little developmental league that ain't got nothing to do with the league, and somebody be like, damn, look at that guy. Nah, probably not. But, if you one of those dudes that like to still play football, I remember when I stopped playing. Like, dudes running up on me asking me about playing, like, semi-pro ball, and I didn't know what that was. It sounds better than what it is because the word pro is in there. And I was like, man, my body broke, cuz, you know what I mean? But then after I found out what it was, I was like, man, I should have been slapping folks. Park ball for grown people? Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I ain't gonna pay you. At the end of the day, at least I was pulling down a scholarship for getting my body tore up. You think I'm just gonna do it because I love the game? Come on, man. Everything has a season, B. Everything comes and everything goes. Y'all holding on to them dreams? Yeah, man, I'm about to go play for the Decatur Slammer Jammers. Oh, man, have at it. I remember we interviewed somebody one time, too, for Sisters Only. Me and Rob, and I had the same attitude. I was like, wait a minute. This sounds like a scam. You know what I mean? You playing on people's emotions. Anyway, I mentioned earlier in the show, Duke star player Grayson Allen got suspended because, Shawty be tripping. Literally. Got suspended indefinitely. Coach K doing that Coach K thing when they asked about it. He wanted to turn into a little turd ball about, like, I got this. Y'all don't worry about it. Hold on, dude. If you had this, he wouldn't have been doing it for the last 10 months since last year, doing this, tripping people up on the court. And then the other thing, see, this is where that foolishness that putting these guys, him and Saban, up on these pedestals, it comes back to bite people. Because you remember last year in the tournament, they got their asses handed to them, and one of the kids from the other team was celebrating, right? And it was a problem with Coach K. He wanted to chastise the kid, and then compounded that by lying on the kid, like, no, I don't know what y'all talking about. He said, I didn't do that. And it had all these folks making excuses for him, like, if Coach K says it, I believe him. So basically the kid's a liar. He ain't had no reason to lie. Like, he wasn't mad about what Coach K said to him. He was like, yeah, he said, I'm better than that. And I agree with him. I just got caught up in my emotion. The kid wasn't even mad when he answered the question at the press conference. But, they got to protect, everybody got to protect their wrongness. People don't want to be wrong about stuff when it comes to their deitizing of these damn college coaches. I hate with that crap, man. Before I forget as well, make sure you guys, if you got some time on your hands this weekend and some disposable income, go check out these two movies, man. Figures, the movie about the black women who headed up the space program, who made it possible for America to reach outer space. And Fences, the Viola Davis, Denzel movie. For two separate reasons. I talked about it all week long, but for two separate reasons, I want to see both of them. So, I might scoop the old lady up and throw her in the car, drag her down there, and sit down and watch a flick with her tomorrow. I guess people gonna be out there doing their last minute shopping and all that stuff. But I might go down, go catch me a matinee tomorrow afternoon or something. Oh, I think one of them comes out on Christmas though. Why they do that? Why wouldn't it come out today? See, that's that foolery. Because then they're going to be talking about how much money the thing made over the weekend, but the weekend's only going to be one day for one of these movies. Like Fences, I think it opens on Sunday. Yeah, see, and I just saw that before the show started, too. Oh, last thing. I scrolled down my page, and, oh, man, one of my former coworkers is back in the news. A young man that used to play quarterback, wide receiver, a bunch of stuff for the Pittsburgh Steelers back in the day. You guys may know him as Slash, Cordell Stewart. Apparently a video has surfaced of Cordell literally showing his ass. And I hadn't seen the video, but I read what it said. Apparently it was supposed to be of him with some dude, because the rumor has been for so long that he's a gay guy. And, like, here's the thing. I'm still kind of confused about one thing. Like, the notion of being accused of being gay, that's kind of weird to me, because it's not a crime. Like, I'm accusing you of being gay. Like, I told my homie the other day on a group chat, I was like, here's the thing, in 2016, the gays is kind of winning. So if you gay, like, this is the perfect time for you. Do your thing, man, and don't go to North Carolina. But the other 49, you pretty much winning. So if Cordell's a gay dude, and I don't know if it's the football player thing in him or what it is, or if he's not gay at all. I don't know the man like that. I mean, we worked together, had a couple of laughs at the radio station, and that was kind of the extent of it. He hosted the show that came on before the one I produced. But, yeah, he's back in the news, and he came out today talking about his ex-wifey, the chick, Portia, is the one who put this tape out. It was a tape of him. Apparently, he says the way he's stating it is almost like he's saying this after he smashed some chick that took the video, and then his ex-wife stole the phone that the video was on from the chick that he was messing with at the time. And now she's trying to put it out there like, my man is out there, getting butt plugged or whatever by another dude, so I thought it was funny as hell. And, like, not just me, a lot of the guys that I messed with thought it was, like, mad funny. But like I say, like, Cordell was a little bit of a rolling joke at the old shop, man. So shout out to him, man. If if you ever want to come on the show, and if you want to come out, yeah, come on my show and do it, cause I need numbers like that. that's gonna blow my whole spot up. That happened. I wonder if I still got Cordell. Nah, I'm playing. And some other news, some I don't know if this is even sad news. Well, happy news and possibly sad news. Draymond Jr. is here. Oh yeah, Draymond Jr. is in the building, and you know what? Too, he might not play in the Christmas game. Damn kids, man! These damn kids always screwing stuff up. Damn it, man. But anyway, man, shout out to Draymond. We were supposed to try to get his mom on the show a couple of weeks, like during the Olympics. We were supposed to try to get his mom on the show. I kind of forgot about it, and I don't know what happened to it. But maybe we can get old Miss Green on the phone. Is her name Green? Like, I mean, I don't know, but Draymond's mama, on the phone, man, and find out about the woman that bore old Draymond. And in last thing here for today, in other news out of Oakland Warriors camp. I don't know if you guys remember this. They had like this old ass fan. She was 107 years old. 107 years old. Well, she finally kicked the bucket. That's why I say I don't know if it's sad or not, man. You 107 years, like they had a statement from her daughter, but I'm thinking like she 107. Like how old her daughter? Her husband apparently died in 1999. Like Shada was trying to take every bit advantage of her single life. Like, when you that old, I'm not a real superstitious person, but, like, it's one thing that I always say, like, you must be evil for you just to be trapped on Earth. Because that's what it feels like. You 107, you can't go nowhere. All your friends dying around you. 107. Shout out to her, man. Ain't no need to be sad. Like, congratulate her. She finally crossed over. Or whatever. She finally got up out of here. Because that can't be no fun. You know how much stuff she probably seen in life? I mean, probably some good. You know when she should have probably bowed out? Like you kind of risking it after the Barack Obama first, election, the first win. But like after, if you black and old like that, and you see the second term, yeah, go ahead and bounce. And she's probably doing it right because Trump about to come in here. She seen the rise up, and she seen the beginning of the downfall. Go ahead and bounce, Grandma. I think her name was Sweetie. Sweetie's gone, everybody. 107 years old. Sweetie's gone and I'm gone for the weekend. You guys, man, enjoy your time with your family. If you're one of those Christmas people and exchanging gifts and all that, make it more about your fam, man. Because America set up the system where they only give you a certain amount of time a year to deal with your family and spend time with your people. So use it wisely. This is One Mic with Big Mike right here on Spreaker.com. I'm also on the Spreaker app, TuneIn, and One Mic with Big Mike. Hear the show on demand on all those outlets, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and, of course, YouTube as well. Follow me while I'm not here. I'm going to be on Twitter and Instagram and all those places at One Mic with Big Mike. Until Monday, man, enjoy your weekend and be safe out there. I'll holler at y'all.